There are 5 phases of movement in a right-handed golf swing. Before the phases begin, it is important to note how the golfer stands before the movement occurs. The golfer will position his or her hips and feet in an external rotated and abducted position for postural and balance control. The knees, neck, hips, and shoulders are also flexed, with the golfer grasping the top portion of the club with the right hand below the left. The stance is also termed as the address. The first phase, named the backswing, occurs when the golfer moves the club from a horizontal position from the ground, in which the body moves from the address position to a new one. The club moves to behind the head and neck with the upper trunk in an upright position through a posterior rotation of the shoulder girdle with the arm abducted. The right and left scapulae are retracted and protracted as well. There's a considerable amount of right lateral flexion off the right trunk muscles at this phase, with the left foot elevated and medially rotated slightly off the ground. The second phase, named the forward downswing, occurs when the golfer's entire spine rotates the upper body to push the club to a horizontal position on the right side of the body that is parallel to the ground. The majority of the rotation occurs at the lumbar and thoracic spine, but the left shoulder and scapula also help ventrally rotate the body in an anti-clockwise position toward the body. More weight is put on the right foot compared to the left still at this phase as well. The third phase, named the acceleration phase, happens between the position of the club in a horizontal position parallel to the ground to the impact of the club and the golf ball, in which the body is rotated by the lumbar spine and hip joint. The end result of the club will be in a vertical position where it has hit the ball. This phase is also termed as the late downswing, as it is easily connected to the second phase, where most of the power to hit the ball is at. The fourth phase, called the early follow-through, occurs when the ball has been impacted by the club and the club is back to a horizontal position on the ground, or back to the golfer's initial address stance. At this phase, there is a reduction of right lateral flexion of the trunk as more weight is put on the left side of the body, and there is an increase in left lateral flexion of the trunk. More weight is also put on the left foot, and the right foot is now elevated off the ground. The final stage, named the late follow-through, the left lateral flexion of the trunk occurs to the momentum left over from the hitting the ball. The flexion causes there to be a rotation of the lumbar spine and hip joint to cause the club to again be horizontally parallel to the ground. After the flexion has occurred, the lower back will be extended and the right foot is also immediately rotated and the heel is elevated off the ground. The golf swing finally ends with the club behind the head and neck due to posterior rotation at the shoulder girdle and abduction of the arm. Now we will demonstrate the entire golf swing.